Welcome back to the Jim Feist Pro Football Handicapping Show here at Dom DeMarco's on the patio, where the good times roll and the wine flows, where our panel consists of all sharps and no squares, and our audience is the smartest from Yale to jail. I mean, we got it all covered here. Introducing the man, the myth, and the legend, Jim Feist. How are you today?
I'm doing good, recovering from a very quiet Christmas.
All right, it was quiet. All right. Were your bets quiet?
Well, I made the mistake of betting the Steelers. That was terrible. But I had the unders, so that balanced that. So it's 1-1 in the NFL yesterday.
We are definitely
which isn't terrible. But I'm telling you, Netflix really drew a parlay with those two games. Holy, I mean, 12 points between two playoff teams. That's scary.
Well, there's a whole other conversation with Netflix and sports, but we're going to talk a lot of things, including the Steelers. But let's introduce our panel. One is a guy, he was here just a couple weeks ago, a sports handicapper, blogger, radio personality, does very well in several handicapping contests. Aaron Renning, welcome back to the show.
Oh, it's excellent to be here. Happy holidays there.
Yeah, happy holidays. And then also we have a new guy on the panel, an NFL betting expert whose results speak for themselves, consistently wins on two of the biggest NFL betting markets of spreads and totals, Scott Kellen. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Glad to be here. Appreciate it, and looking forward to it.
All right, Jim. We've talked about this every week, but now I'm going to throw something at you. The Chiefs, are they the best until proven otherwise?
Well, yeah, you have to say that because they got two of the best. They have two of the best coaches in Reed and Spagnuolo, and they got a quarterback that I think everybody knows his name, and I think they're the only team, or one of the few. No, I think there's 3 or 4 teams that haven't scored 30 points all year. The other 3 teams are terrible, like the Giants and so and so. But the 4th team is Kansas City. They haven't scored 30 points once this year, and they're still my favorite to go to the Super Bowl because the way they're handling. They don't blow you out. They just play good enough to win. They do all the fundamental things right. Spags is a great defensive coordinator. Reed, we know. I mean, he's been there. He did it in Philadelphia. He's doing it in Kansas City. He's just fantastic. And Mahomes knows how to win. You got Kelsey. I don't know how long he's going to be around. Maybe he'll retire now. But they got it going on. They're good.
You know, and I have to say, I think I said it when I did the show last time. It's different from the regular season to the postseason,
right?
And I don't know how, Scott, you have them rated, but I had Baltimore power rated ahead of them. I had Philadelphia power rated ahead of them. With that said, in a playoff game, and if they are short dogs or a short favorite, whatever, it's really difficult to bet against that team. So well coached, and tremendous defensive coordinator, obviously what they do with Mahomes. So it's just, you have to look at it 2 different ways to me, regular season and postseason, and they're definitely flexing their muscle now.
Scott, did they show more yesterday than we've seen all season, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so, and we saw this last year. I mean, remember how much they really struggled last year, and then they got it going. And I heard someone say this the other day, Patrick Mahomes, his worst effort is 2 overtime losses in an AFC championship game. In terms of, that's been their worst scenario with him, right? So they just figure out a way to do it. And now, Hollywood Brown's getting in the mix a little bit. Obviously, they've got Hopkins. The offense seems like Worthy's getting going, now as a receiver. So the offense kind of seems like it's going. And, I don't know how much longer Kelsey will play, but man, they just found him wide open in the middle of the field all day yesterday. They just do it. They're in sync, so.
Scott, let me ask you this then, because their biggest competition everybody's talking about is the Buffalo Bills, who have scored over 30 points in their last 8 games. Are they good enough to go into Kansas City and win?
I think they're good enough to go there, yes. Will they? That remains to be seen, because you've just got to get over that Mahomes magic. I mean, they just find a way to do it. But are they good enough, Buffalo? I think so. I mean, I don't think their defense is as good as Kansas City's defense, but it's Josh Allen as well.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, they should have done that a few years ago, right? And, they blew the end of that game, and they should have won that. So they're more than capable of doing it. They got to do it.
Aaron, what's your thoughts on Bills Chiefs if it's in Kansas City?
Like I said, you have to give a heck of a lot of respect. But if there's one person that I don't want to play, it would be Josh Allen. I wouldn't want that's a guy, a one-man wrecking ball coming to town.
Jim, what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to go back to the coaches. Spagnuolo's, I think, the best defensive coordinator in the game. And if he comes up with a game plan to shut down or modify or even curtail a little bit the Buffalo offense, you're going to have a hard time with Andy Reid and the offense that Mahomes brings to the table. And if the game's in Kansas City, which it probably will be, it's going to be tough to beat them.
You brought up the Steelers. I know everybody's pretty much saying it's going to be Kansas City and Buffalo, and it sure in the hell looks like it's just these two teams, the cream of the crop. But the last 3 weeks have been tough on the Steelers. They've taken double-digit losses to Baltimore, Philadelphia, now to Kansas City. Is the schedule catching up to them?
I think what we're seeing is that but Tomlin can surprise a lot of clubs. He's a good coach. He's fundamentally good. But, they used to say, let Russ cook. I think it's now, let's cook Russ. I'm sorry, the guy's washed up.
All right.
Done. He was done in Seattle. He didn't do well the last couple of years in Seattle. Then he went to Denver. They paid him a lot of money, and they're still paying him a lot of money because Pittsburgh got him at a discount because Denver's paying his contract. He didn't play well in Denver, and he's had flashes. And obviously, the guy was a really good player, but they all reached their limits, and he's reached his limit. He's done. As far as I'm concerned, he's done.
Aaron, is the Steelers a team limping in the playoffs that look like they're there, but they really don't deserve to be there?
Yeah, it was interesting because their schedule is about as tough as anybody in the NFL, and they overcame that. And you have to give Tomlin a lot of credit because he did make the quarterback switch. They gave him a little bit more upside in the passing game, and maybe upset the room and stuff. But now you're seeing it, as Jim said, Russell just doesn't have it. It's the upper echelons in the quarterbacks in the NFL. But you have to look at who they played as well, and it's not it's not an easy schedule. You got to play 3 games in 11 days.
Yeah.
But we always hear this: Tomlin is an underdog, Pittsburgh is an underdog, and now they've lost 3 straight.
3 straight by double digits.
Yeah, right. As underdogs, but at the same time, not the easiest team to play either. Still very good defense. It's just hard to me. It's hard to live with those moon balls, and a lot of that was chance. And you saw a lot of those completions that they had when Wilson came onto the scene. I think there was definitely luck involved with that.
Scott, is the Steelers a team you want to see or don't want to see in the playoffs?
I'd want to see them if I'm the right team. I mean, look, I like looking at things at yards per play versus the opponent that they played. So it kind of gives you an idea of, are they above average, below average? And their numbers, they're basically an average team. But what they are is plus 15 in turnover margin. And so you start getting a lot of turnovers, even if you're an average team, you're going to win games. They're coached well, like you said, right? Still have a good defense. I just think, they're playing tougher teams now. I was just the opposite of you yesterday, Jim. I was on Kansas City, but I was on the over, so lost the total. I just think, they've been living a lot off these turnovers, and that's starting to catch up to them a little bit. And if they don't generate the turnovers, it's going to be a little bit harder in the playoffs against really good teams. They're probably not good enough at the line of scrimmage to beat you.
We have 14 teams going into the playoffs. I think there's about 6 teams that can win the whole thing. The other 8 teams are not up to par. Now, how bad are they? That's the question. I mean, we saw 2 teams yesterday, and I know they played a lot of games in a few days, so that was negative. But the Texans, 2 points.
Oh.
The Steelers, 10 points. And these games meant something to them. I mean, if this is what the playoffs are going to be? Are we going to be looking at inflated lines, or are we going to be? I mean, a lot of us are dog players. We like to take dogs in situations, especially if it's competitive and the coaching's competitive. But how the hell are we going to be playing dogs that look like that?
Well, that first round might be like the college football playoff first round.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the Texans, they got the AFC South locked up.
They've regressed too.
And I've never had them power rated that high this year.
Where do you have them at, Aaron?
I had them like a 0. I go positive, negative. I've had them maybe a +1 at best this season. I just never got there with this team, and liked that team. I wanted to bet that team, but that offensive line has just been a disaster.
Yeah.
It's been a mess.
The line's bad. The play calling early downs is bad. Obviously, they're hurt at the receiver position. They're not hurt at the safety position. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this in the panel. Any three of you guys can take this. Does anybody like the Bills -9 with the Jets this week?
Do the Bills have anything to play for? If they don't have anything to play for, why would they go out and risk everybody to play a whole game?
Or would you take the +9, or are you staying away?
I didn't do anything with it, personally. I mean, I find it's hard to find reasons to play teams that are maybe going to sit people. You know, you have teams that I'll switch teams just for a second. I know the other guys want to answer that question too, but you have Atlanta that needs to win.
Yep.
And you have a rookie quarterback that played one game, albeit he was a college player. He's a great player in college. They drafted him along with having Cousins there. Now Cousins is out. But he played one game and he looked good. But who did they play? He played a high school team, the New York Giants. I mean, my high school team was terrible. They could play them. So, I mean, how much credit do you give them for playing well against the Giants? So that's kind of two questions.
Yeah,
for you.
Scott, let's. You like the Bills-Jets game? Anything in that game?
I have not played anything. I would probably lean towards the Jets. Kind of.
Yep. Scott, let me ask you about tonight's game. Seattle at Chicago. It's 4.5. Do you like anything in this game? You like the spread? You like the total first half? Or are you staying away? What do you like about this game?
The Bears are such a
Bad
freaking
team,
mess,
right?
man. You know, it's surprising. Like my player ratings would actually lean a little bit towards the Bears, but how can you trust them? Looking at numbers just from the line of scrimmage, I think Seattle's a better team and probably should be favored by 6.5 points possibly just with that. But the weird anomaly here is Seattle turns the ball over a lot, and Caleb Williams is not turning the ball over. So, like, it's hard to believe a team can be as bad as the Bears and really not turning the ball over. They don't turn it over in Seattle, and Geno turns the ball over a little bit, then this game all of a sudden can be a lot closer, I think. But it just, the Bears are a mess right now. You got Thomas Brown, who was just a coach, who was then, elevated to the offensive coordinator, who's now elevated to the head coach. I mean, God bless the guy, right? Like, he's in a position he's not cut out to be in, and that defense has really regressed since Eberflus got fired. I can't play the Bears.
It was interesting because the last show we did about a month ago, Jim, and it was right after the Bears made it was after Thanksgiving, and they made the head coaching change, and you thought that they would maybe get a spike, but I said, be careful, because the Bears were so fundamentally bad. Yeah. They can't block, they can't tackle, they do so many bad things. You just can't change those things in a week. And like Scott said, now you put so much on this coach. And I've tried to pick a couple spots and bet the Bears a little bit. It's been an uphill battle because
are you on them tonight?
I did not bet them. I leaned definitely under the total. You saw this total go up to 43.5. It's plummeted now. I think both teams. I think it'll be a low-scoring game.
And by the way,
is it a weather thing up there tonight?
Well, they're down. The Bears are down left tackle and left guard as well, so they're banged up in the offense.
And they can't block to begin with.
And Pete Carroll comes out and he says he wants to coach them.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You on this game tonight?
I'd take Pete Carroll in a minute over what they have.
I would take Pete Carroll, but I think they need an offensive-minded coach for Caleb Williams. That's the only drawback.
Yeah. Are you on this game tonight, Jim?
No, I'm not. I didn't bet the game.
You don't like it at all?
I don't trust them.
Okay.
I mean, Scott just mentioned that the turnovers in Seattle. There's a lot of things I like about Seattle, but they do turn the ball over a lot. And the Bears are a mess. I don't know. I don't know what to do with the game. I'm probably an in-game bet for me. I'll watch the game and I'll make some action on in-game. But I'm ahead of that. No, I'm not.
Any questions from the audience before I go to anything else? Anybody got a question out there? Throw your hand up. We'll be more than happy to answer some on the panel. Nobody out there? Nope.
I can't believe that Ray
There's
is not
no
asking a question. Where is he?
Ray doesn't have questions this week. It's Christmas hangover. He's getting ready for New Year's
today.
Eve.
I don't know what's going on.
He's going to hammer us in 2025. Trust me. He's waiting. Well, let me ask you this. What game do you like the best this week?
Oh, I hate to be a chalk guy like this. I'm a dog player for the most part, but I just have not seen anybody play as When I went to school, there was a football team on my high school team. I swear to God they could beat the Giants. Okay, so if Steichen stays with the running game, and last week he did, in the preseason he says we have a great running tandem here with Richardson and Taylor, and then he comes out and every game Richardson's throwing the ball all over the field. And then it didn't work out and he goes to Flacco. I mean, it's total coaching mismanagement in my opinion. Now, last week, they ran the ball. Richardson threw the ball 11 times. That's a quarterback that threw the ball 11 times. Whoever does that? And they looked fantastic. And now they're playing the Giants, who basically, to me, is a high school team. They're horrible, and they're not trying. I gotta say, no matter anything under 10, I'm laying the Colts.
Well, it's at 7.5 what I'm looking at right now. So you're on it.
Yeah, I just can't stop.
But you do like the mentality. It's a little bit like the Philadelphia Eagles, and this Colts offensive line has been very good, and they've always been adamant, we want to run the ball. Remember, they used to wear the hats,
yes.
Run the damn ball.
Yes.
And so I think they've taken that, and they've I think you'll see this team respond. I did not bet it. It's hard for me. Kind of old school like you, Jim. It's hard to lay a touchdown on the road, but the Giants have been an awful home team as well. So definitely not taking the Giants. I know that.
Scott, let me throw a game at you. Panthers at Tampa Bay. Tampa has to win. Get some help. The line's at 8. Do you like this game? I mean, Tampa's got to come out with everything if they got any shot to get into the playoffs, and they need Atlanta to lose. Can Atlanta lose? Sure, but Atlanta's beat them twice, so and otherwise, they got to put every card on the table.
Yeah, I didn't play the game. There is these last couple of weeks of the season where a team has to win, playing a team who is out of it. Typically, the line's getting a little bit inflated. I made the number about where it's at. I'm not playing the total, but I will tell you, one takeaway. This thing has worked like clockwork, going all the way back to 1983. You get to week 11 or later, which is essentially November or later. Divisional totals higher than 45 that are outside like clockwork every single year. They win. They're 8-4 to the under this year. This game would apply there. It's a little hard for me to pull the trigger on that, though, just with Tampa Bay's mentality offensively and how they score. And obviously Carolina's playing a little bit better. But just look for those divisional unders late in the year outside, higher than 45. They work very, very well.
Aaron, you like this game at all?
I did not bet that. I did not bet this game. You know what? I do have a bet on Tampa Bay. Just kind of in the theory where Carolina, you get this bounce from last week. They pull the upset, and Arizona kind of quit on their season a little bit. It was kind of a weird game. And then you have Tampa Bay off kind of a bad loss. To me, it's a situational spot. Definitely a teaser a potential play here with the favorite as well. So
did you just say you haven't bet this game and then you said you bet Tampa?
I think I got my guy over here. We have Orton. Micah? Did we bet this game yet? Right. My buy price was 7, but I will definitely bet it before the game starts.
We didn't mention or we didn't talk about the game. Seattle plays tonight, and let's assume they win because they're playing the Bears.
Yep.
But they're in a dogfight with the Rams. But Arizona looks like, and with Connor out, what kind of an offense can they? I mean,
right left tackle out as well.
Right. Yeah. Both out.
I mean, you have great coaching on the Rams side. You've got a Super Bowl winning coach or quarterback. You've got a Super Bowl coach. You've got wide receivers. You got Williams in the backfield who grind. He's not going to give you a 60 or 70-yard run, but he'll grind all day and all night. He'll just grind. How can you not like at least the Rams in a teaser if you don't bet them on the straight up?
And remember, I think it was week 2, Arizona absolutely blew the doors off of the Rams. In Arizona, the Rams were very banged up. It was like 40-14 or something. To me, that's probably sticking in their head a little bit as well.
I'm sure.
So
that's when the Rams were talking about trading everybody, and they were just going to throw in the towel. And good thing they didn't. Aaron, what do you think about this game?
I didn't bet it. Again, it's hard in Arizona the way they the effort, and the defense had overachieved to where they are. We saw that defense kind of come back now, and we mentioned the injuries. I don't know what Scott, you think of Kyler Murray as your quarterback, but very up and up, capable, and probably not the worst thing in the world where you have a quarterback that's not mobile with the offensive line injuries that they have. It maybe doesn't hurt Murray as much, but it's just been a tough team to trust. And I have been very anti-Rams, but boy, what a job by McVay again to get this team and getting healthy at the wide receiver position. So I would have to say that I've definitely been wrong here on the Rams.
As we've done all week, each week, all year. Hang on, I'm going to get to you in a second. We have 3 bottles of wine, compliments of J-Lore, that we have to give away. You got tickets out there. Albert, bring me 3 tickets, and we're going to announce 3 winners, see who's going to get the bottles of wine. Every week, they just keep bringing up more bottles of wine. If you haven't tried J-Lore wines, I ask you a question, why you have not, because they are absolutely fantastic wines. Here, I'll tell you what, we're going to just throw them down. Jim, you pick me 3 numbers. Let's see who's going to win some wines. We have, there we go, last 3 numbers of 120. Who's 120? Over there, he's got a bottle of wine coming. 117, where's 117? Who's got 117? Somebody's got 117. Nobody wants a bottle of wine, somebody's got 117. Another ticket. How about 121? 121 over there.
Same table. That's a lucky table over there.
Somebody didn't want. So instead of 117, how about 122? That's got to be at that table too.
Oh my God!
3 in a row. They're 3 in a row. Nice job. All right, Ray, you got a question? What's your question?
Well, I asked last week a question and never got answered, so I had to go upon myself.
Oh no! Oh no!
and take care of business myself, like I've done my entire life. Fill up that goddamn bag. Well, here we are.
Here we are. Same question?
Here we are. So, no, it's the same one. I just added to it and see if you guys have another answer.
What's the question?
Well, here it is.
We're waiting.
I have Oregon and Philadelphia plus 2,780. Oregon to win it all, and then Buffalo to win it all. I'm 1. I asked you, how can I protect myself? Well, here I am. I had to go upon, I did it again. I took Kansas City to win it all, and I took Texas to win it. That pays plus 2,048.
Wait, you took Texas to win it all?
Texas Longhorns.
Okay. Not Houston Texans.
No.
Thank God. Thought he lost his mind for a second.
All sharps, no squares. So we
That's
got
right.
2 college football teams.
Yep.
And we got 2 AFC teams. Could somebody answer that phone?
It's probably your banker.
So I got that with the 2 college, and then the 2 AFCs.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing maybe NFL
Okay, sounds good.
MVP quarterback when they come out to protect myself in the NFC, such as a Jared Goff 22-1 or a Jalen Hurts 18-1, just to protect myself before I get them.
So you want to know if you
once
should
again,
take
let's
Goff or
reiterate
Hurts
exactly
as the
where I'm
MVP? Let me make sure I'm following. You want to know if you should, what NFC quarterback you should take to protect yourself as MVP?
And or do you find any holes in this combination that I'm trying to unlock?
Can I ask, what was that price that you said on the? Did you say like 800,000
Plus 200 something.
or 200,000?
I didn't say that at all today. What I said today was that I have Oregon to win it all
Yeah.
and Buffalo to win it all. On
Okay.
a 2-team parlay.
Okay.
And plus 2,100
Okay.
change.
Okay.
So, $8,000 would be 204,000 if you were to do something of that nature.
Well, and you would, because I know you.
Let me ask you this:
That's not a lot of money.
why wouldn't you sprinkle in a little Penn State?
would.
Back to reality. Do you see any holes in that combination that I'm trying to unlock here? I look at it like this. As long as Texas or Oregon win it, I have one hell of a hedge in front of me. And pigs eat, but hogs get slaughtered. But I'm still trying to protect myself a little bit. There are no Super Bowl MVPs props out yet on shore. So
Scott, take
I don't know,
this.
gentlemen.
Well, I mean, first of all, if I understood the one part of the question, you want to know if you can hedge with Jalen Hurts or Goff as the MVP of the league, right?
Of the Super Bowl.
Oh, of the Super Bowl.
Because if you look at, I need Buffalo to win the Super Bowl or Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, no matter what. I need to protect myself on the NFC side, unless I can think of maybe what I'm thinking about doing right now is dancing with, I really don't want to go back to the drawing board and do Oregon and Texas again with an NFC team. I'm looking for something a little.
Well, the trouble right from the start is if you think of the Eagles or you think of Detroit, there's a lot of playmakers on Detroit. There's a lot of playmakers on the Eagles. If you're talking about Kansas City and Mahomes, great chance to be MVP of the Super Bowl. I wouldn't say this much with golf, and I would not say as much with Hurts as well. So that complicates things right off the bat. But you do need some sort of NFC hedge in there.
Yeah, I don't need Mahomes to win MVP because I have Kansas City to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
I don't need Josh Allen to do
Right.
it either. I need something over here on the left. I need.
What I'm saying is, with Buffalo and Kansas City, you have a great chance to have a quarterback be an MVP. With the other two teams, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
Right.
So look, otherwise, I just look for a straight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions out there?
That was a complicated question.
Is your head hurt? You have a
Yes,
headache?
now I have a headache.
You should have another sip of
I'm
tequila. It'll help.
gonna have to start drinking.
It's Christmas season, holiday season, so squeeze the lime, no salt. Who drinks tequila from a straw?
Well, because first of all, it's medicinal. I have this allergy issue that the only thing that fixes it.
Tequila from a straw. I'm gonna try that.
I'm not a drinker at all, so it's medicinal. What am I gonna say?
Let's give a round of applause for Aaron and Scott, everybody on the panel. Also, a round of applause for J. Lorne Winery for giving away the wines. And last but not least, the man, the myth here, Jim Feist. Give him a round of applause. Good luck on your bets this week. My name is Tommy Canelli. I'm the host of the show. We'll be back next week with Bernie Fredo and Andy Isco for the final week of the regular season. We will see you January 2nd right here on the patio, Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Wine Bar, where we have all sharps, no squares. Our audience goes from Yale to jail. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.